Once again, for 2 years, I've been asking the question, does anybody believe advertising is more important than public safety? And once again, this room, a unanimous room tonight, 125 people, no one said advertising was more important than public safety. And I think it was interesting tonight, between myself and Mayor Rhodes, there's a clear distinction. If you want to use the advertising money for public safety, I would be your candidate. If you want to continue to fund the chamber, the $23 million they're getting, and going and asking for peanuts and scraps from the General Assembly out of the accommodations tax, well, that's the approach they have. I believe, I've been saying for 2 years, since September of 2015, we need 100 officers on the street. And we can put 100 officers on within the year if we pay them. If we become the best paid department in the state of South Carolina, we will have officers coming here. At the end of the day, there's someone who always wants to be a preacher, teacher, and a cop. And we can bring them here because some people aren't looking to get rich, but they do want to get paid. With $11.5 million from the chamber this year, we can put on 100 officers. We can give pay raises, improve their employment packages, and we'll have more officers for Memorial Day. It's a really simple issue. Do you want it to be the way it's been, or do you want to go in a different direction and put public safety first, what is the most important issue in this election?
I'm Matthew Hardy. I'm running for Myrtle Beach City Council. I just attended the mayoral debate here at the train station put on by the NAACP, and it was a great event. A lot of people showed up, and it's become clear that a lot of people are irritated and they're ready for change in the city. I'm going to point out to the fact that the current mayor's attitude tonight was really quite eye-opening. It's not acceptable, I don't think, towards other people that are running and trying to just change stuff in the city. I'm just going to put that out there, and I'm sorry I have to say that, but that's the truth. That's the way things are. But going forward here, I hope let's vote for a new mayor, let's vote for new council members, and let's get 4 new people on there, and let's create change this November 7th. Thank you.
I would like to see us have the strongest, highest paid police department in the state. I want to see that perception come to Myrtle Beach that when you get here, you actually have arrived at a wonderful destination. When you come in 501 and you come down the corridor, I would like it to look like you have really come to some place very pleasant and attractive for your family. When you come to the beach and you check into a motel, I want you to look down the boulevard and look down the beach and see attractive amenities for you and your family to enjoy. I'd like to be able to see you walk up the avenues between the boulevard and Highway 17 and find little restaurants and find little venues and specialty shops that you can trade in and occupy your time. I'd like for the tourists to be able to walk around and to travel on bicycles, golf carts, and sidewalks so that they are able to leave their car parked and enjoy the beach as we all have as locals that live here. Thank you so much for coming to our beach. Thank you so much for all the opportunities you've allowed us. And once again on November 7th, I am asking for your vote for Myrtle Beach City Council because I believe I'm the best candidate for the job. Thank you.
But for some reason, the Chicken Littles of the world want to make us look like we're Chicago. But yet, those who want to destroy this beach with negative publicity are the ones who harm us more than anything. That gentleman that took the film was a fireman that was here on a fireman's convention. He was a sworn officer that was supposed to respond to people in trouble and injured. He was so busy taking the film, he never did what his job called for him to do, and that was to respond to injured people on the boulevard. He was more interested in putting it out and getting great publicity, which the newspaper gave him great publicity over July the 4th. You know, that was one of the busiest times of the year. This city has problems, but it is not a Chicago, Illinois. It's not a Detroit, and it's not a New York City. It is Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and it is an absolute safe city to live and visit in. Thank you.
When I shot the video live, it didn't have too many live viewers. I went to bed around 6, it had a few thousand. When I woke up that morning, I had a few tens to 100,000s, and shortly long it was in the millions. So I never thought that a simple video from a simple guy like me would go viral like that. I had no idea. But I guess I realized that it was going to go viral the next morning after I woke up and saw how many views the video actually had. And when I went downstairs and saw the reporters down there, that's when I knew that it was going to be a little bit more than what I thought it was going to be.
Was there anything about being an accidental hero that was upsetting to you? Has your privacy been taken away from you since this matter happened?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't call myself a hero, but I mean, most people have been pretty respectful of my privacy. I mean, nobody showed up at my home. All the media outlets I've talked to, I let them know how I want them to present where I'm from, and they normally honor that pretty well. And I think my privacy, although when it first started, I felt like I was being bombarded because I was getting messages, so many messages I couldn't even respond to, and then same as Facebook requests, I maxed out on my Facebook requests. But the privacy, I still had a bit of privacy. It didn't affect it much.
At MyrtleBeachSC.com, we're big fans of citizenship media. How do you think citizenship media is changing America overall?
Well, cameras don't lie. Videos, cell phone video, stream to Facebook Live, it's not going to lie. I think that the power of social media helps that out a lot too.
No, that's the answer.
And citizenship media helps inform people what's going on that some major places might not. So,
do you think citizenship media helps hold local governments accountable and local businesses accountable? Do you think it adds to a greater sense of accountability in our American process?
I mean, it could. I'm not around it enough to fully realize it. Not from where I'm from, so we don't have a lot of citizenship media places where I'm from. So I really couldn't answer that question.
Has there been any downside to shooting the video, in your opinion, or has it been all pretty much on the upside?
I mean, you're going to have your ups and downs. There's people like showed up today that support me, and there's people who didn't support me. I've gotten hateful Facebook messages, and I just let it go one ear and out the other. You got to be the bigger man, and that's how I felt the latest situation was. Just let it go in one ear and out the other. So I try not to let the negative stuff affect me. I try to stay positive about it.
Well, at MyrtleBeachSC.com, we are huge fans of citizenship media and social media, and we just want to thank you, man. You really and truly are a difference maker, whether you want to, I know you're an humble man, but you've been a difference maker. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate you, brother.
Oh, I'm live on Facebook. Right now we're at 4th Avenue. There's a shooting at 16th Avenue North. Here comes the police now. And we got a mob. 4th Avenue North and Ocean Boulevard, Myrtle Beach. And they're running. Oh, they're fighting. Fight! 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 Oh, the officer's down! Officer is down. Cop is down. Multiple people down. We're at 4th Avenue North. Stay away. If you're watching this, stay away from 4th Avenue North and Ocean Boulevard. Stay away from this area if you're watching this feed. There's multiple people been shot. Hey, go back inside.
Hey, where's the cop that got shot?
I don't. He's laying on the ground right there. That cop's laying on the ground, shot. That cop is right there. There's his legs.
Officer down.
Call 911, Zach. Tell them there's a cop that's been shot, 4th Avenue North and Ocean Boulevard. Well, hand me the phone.
So what we're filming here, it's a night drug deal going down at the Crepe Myrtle Hotel just across from where we interviewed this morning. This is just a few blocks from downtown Myrtle Beach. In fact, it is downtown Myrtle Beach. And right now we have a transaction going on. No cops, no police, guests tell us this is common in the area. We also have prostitutes walking the area. At the Crepe Myrtle, now he's leaving.
Almost a wall, I'm fine. My car's hit up. Okay, where are they? Almost visible, he should be long way up now. Hey, he just turned, he got spun out. My car is operating.
And I looked at the picture and I commented, I said, my handsome son, and he commented back, he said, I get it from you, mama. That was at 6:42. At 8:40, my baby was dead. It was gang related, that they had asked my son to be in a gang and he had refused, and they shot my baby. He was shot in the face up under his left eye and he died of a massive hemorrhage. Everyone, let's get involved. Let's offer solutions. I wish, you know, when they were up here a few minutes ago and saying, do we have any law enforcement here? There's no law enforcement here. There's so many other people in these communities that should have been here today. They should have been here. But you know what? People don't care and they don't think about it because it has not hit their home. And it may hit your home. Let's get involved. Maybe we may not be able to save everybody, but there are a lot of children and a lot of families that we will be able to save. Thank you for listening to my story.
I'm Myrtle Chapman. I am the president of the South Carolina chapters of the Brady Campaign to Prevent Gun Violence. I'm here at the summit today because it's time for us to find solutions to gun violence. It's an epidemic in our community, and we need the community's input in the solutions. We also need the police input in the solutions. We're not seeing that today, but we need them to come out and be one-on-one with us to find a reason why it's happening and to get rid of the epidemic. So there are going to be chapters forming across the state of the Brady Campaign and forums across the state, and that we hope that statewide people will come to these forums. This is our first one. We're kicking it off because the violence that's been happening in the Grand Strand area, and it's been also violence has been happening across our state. We're the #1 exporters of guns, crime guns in the country. South Carolina is. 33,000 people die a year by gun violence.
We can do something. Horry County is a beautiful place. It is. But it doesn't matter how beautiful the buildings are if the citizen is destroying it. If they're watching us all over the country and we have 8 shootings, 8 victims in a matter of hours, is that what Myrtle Beach has become? I said no. I stand here and I said enough is enough. If you want to get involved, find somebody in here and ask us how you can be involved, because there is a way and you are the solution. Thank you.
Hi, I am Mike Obika, and I am running for Myrtle Beach City Council, and I'm asking for your vote on November 7th. The reason I'm running for City Council is I believe our city's gotten away from the family-friendly beach town we once were. I believe it's time to clean up the 501 corridor, and it's time to clean up the corridor for the south end of town, as that's predominantly the money-making end of the city. Also, I believe we can improve water quality and testing for our guests and our locals alike. Our police department has given the perception that safety's become an issue, and I believe if elected to City Council, I will support our police department, giving them the funds they need as well as the training and manpower so we can improve that image so that people feel safe once again. Also in Myrtle Beach, I believe small business is the backbone of our community. Just like the military and sergeants are the backbone of the Army, we need small business back in our community to fill these empty spaces and fill our streets again with mom and pop owned businesses so that they will help also create the public safety we need in the family-friendly environment. Again, I am Mike Obeek, and I am asking for your vote on November the 7th for Myrtle Beach City Council. It would be an honor to serve you. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Matthew Hardy, and I'm running for Myrtle Beach City Council, and I'd like your vote on November 7th. The reason I'm running for council is because I'd like to create a more family-friendly environment throughout the entire city. I'd like to improve our infrastructure, combat our homeless issue with compassion, and lastly, as a lifelong resident of the south end of this city, I'd like to clean it up and revitalize the area. Again, my name's Matthew Hardy, and I'd like your vote on November 7th.
I think it's important to explain how I've come up with this idea that we need 100 additional officers. And I've spoken about it at different times and in different forums, but I'm going to take everybody to school. We all remember when the teacher had a chalkboard, so today I'm going to explain why we need 100 additional officers. If you take the 2015 FBI Uniform Crime Report, it explains and breaks down the number of officers needed, or what the average is in cities across the country. And when you look at it, you have to first, we'll use Mark Crua, the Public Information Director of the city, says that we have an average population, average year-round. Sometimes it's lower, sometimes it's higher, but the average year-round daily population is in Myrtle Beach is 200,000. So we take 200,000, and then you divide it by the officers per 10,000. That creates a factor of 20. Then you go back and you look at that statistic of the more than 600 cities who turned in their number of patrol officers per 10,000. The average came out to 16. That's 16 officers per 10,000. That gives 320 officers is what we would require in the city of Myrtle Beach. Right now, if we were completely full, we only have 223 allocated and funded positions, and they're not all full. Right now, it depends on what day it is and how many officers have left. For argument's sake, say we have 220 officers in the city. So you take 320 minus 220, and we need 100 officers. It's very simple. And then when you take the statistics and you look, that's only the average. When you look at different cities, the community that leads the nation in officers per 10,000 is Washington, D.C. They have 56.9 officers per 10,000. They have 57 officers per 10,000. Birmingham, Alabama has 39.5. New York has 41.4 officers per 10,000. In the city of New York, there are 35,395 police officers. So there's absolutely a statistical reason based upon FBI statistics why, once again, we need 320 officers in the city of Myrtle Beach. We're 100 officers short. And obviously this summer, when we use 60 outside officers, and under council, under Mayor Rhodes, the chief, the former chief, because he's still being paid to be a consultant at $150,000 a year, he hasn't worked in the city in any capacity since May when he stepped down, but he's still being paid his salary to be a consultant. So the entire package, the city manager and everybody's come up with this plan that they're going to hire, or they're going to 8 new officers for 7 years. That's 56 officers over the next 7 years, patrol officers. But in 2018, what does that say? We're 52 officers short. And that is only to maintain the boulevard. Those are all those 60 officers that were brought in this summer were simply to go to the boulevard to maintain control on the boulevard. That didn't put officers in a neighborhood. That didn't put officers at Market Common, in Grand Dunes, the Dunes Club, Pine Lakes, on Highway 15, Booker T. Washington, at the mall, at Broadway, at the beach. Those 60 officers went to the boulevard. We have to have 60 plus. 60 gets to the 100 number. So the 100 number, that's only our starting point. And that, if that's the average, that's a C. When you wake up, I know we've always challenged our children. We didn't tell you, hey, go to school and get C's. You want to be better. You want to have A. 100 additional officers is only given the C. It is only given the city a C ranking, a C grade. Right now, the city's police department is an F. This proposal only gets us to a C. I want to see us be an A plus department. It's really simple, ladies and gentlemen, and it's not rocket scientist. This is just numbers based upon FBI statistics. So now you understand why I keep saying 100, 100, and 100. Okay, if you'll accept the idea of 320 officers, if that's that statistic and that's that bottom line, yes, I absolutely agree. If you take 320 officers to patrol and take care of the city during the height of the season, in the off season, you're going to have some more free time. You're going to give up time. Right now, they're responding to calls in January, which the number of calls they used to have in July. They are just being killed, they're being overworked, and they're being worn out. So that's why we need 320 officers, the 100 additional officers. But yes, one of the things I believe in putting their compensation packages together, you imagine if you came to Myrtle Beach and it was the highest paid department in the state, and you started off at 3 weeks vacation. During the year, we have several months out of the year where we are not as busy, so that was where we can offer a perk. We can give an extra week of vacation that another department can't. That can be that can be a bone to get people to come to work for us. But when you go back and look at those officers, everybody says, well, why do you need the extra 100 officers in the winter, in the off season? Well, as I've said before, what we're doing is we're using all the officers just to maintain the boulevard, just to keep traffic flow and crowds and all that, but that's not addressing issues. With 100 officers, we go back and really address the gang issues. We go back and address drugs, the drug dealers, the drug problems we're having in the city, the opioids and all the other issues revolving around drugs. Then we can really get on prostitution. Not just go down and make a couple, and make it look good and all. We can actually go after the prostitution. Then we can go to human trafficking. But none of that stuff can be done if all we're doing is hanging on and trying to patrol the city and maintain the boulevard and moving traffic around. We can never get to the real issues. But we can if we have the right police force. That's why we have to put 100 police officers on in 2018. And that can be done using $11.5 million from the Chamber of Commerce. All right, this is very simple. We don't have to have all months and months of study. It took me 5 minutes to sit down with the children's iPad. Typed in FBI number of officers. And it comes up. FBI statistics, national sources, all this interesting. And then right here it says police employment, officers per capita, rates for U.S. cities. From the governing website, the states and localities, police employment, officers per capita rates. City police officers per capita rates vary depending upon the range. In 2005, police departments serving cities with populations exceeding 50,000, averaged 16.6 officers and 21.4 persons per 10,000. And this is where it breaks it down. Cities of 50,000 to 100, 15.9, 100 to 200,000, 16.1. So the number is 16. So it's 16 officers per 10,000. And if we have 200,000 per day is our average, that's 20 times 16 is 320. And for the city and everybody to tell you how difficult this is and where did I find that number and I've just pulled the 100 out of the thin air? No, I've pulled it out of FBI statistics that's good enough for the other 50 states. With public safety being the most important issue in the city of Myrtle Beach, in 2015 when I announced for city council, came out and said we had a public safety issue, and I proposed 100 new officers, pay raises, better performance and better packages for the police officers in their hiring practices, and also our retention. And then also said we had to have more officers for Memorial Day. 2 years later, nothing has changed. And it's still, my proposal is to go to the legislature and change the TDF law, the tax district financing, the advertising. And what that does is it's advertising money right now. The chamber will realize is $23 million this year in advertising money. In addition to that, the homeowners still would get 100% of their tax rebate. The city gets 100% of their money, which is used for capital improvements. But my proposal is to take just half the money from the chamber, which is being used for advertising, and put it into public safety. Keep that money. Don't ever give it to the chamber. Keep $11.5 million in the city for public safety. And with that, take the first $5.5 million and hire 100 officers. I've showed you how and why we need 100 officers to start with. Hire the 100 officers. Then in another section of the remaining $6 million, you'd have money to go in and redo the compensation packages, the pay scales, and make the city of Myrtle Beach the best paid department in the state of South Carolina. I would challenge we ought to be the best paid department in the Southeast. If you do that, we won't have turnover. We'll have people, we'll have retention, we'll have a waiting list of people who want to be a police officer in the city of Myrtle Beach. Then you have money left over for Memorial Day. And what do you do with Memorial Day? You actually pay the officers to come during the weekend. Right now they get a $50 per day per diem to spend. You're working for 12 hours standing in the middle of the boulevard in the middle of Memorial Day during the weekend, and you're getting paid less than $5 an hour. No wonder no one comes. Take that money and actually pay them, create it, and have the officers so we can enforce it and make it a safe, enjoyable weekend. That's all. It's simply going to the legislature. And after 2 years, there has not been one person who has disagreed and said that advertising is more important for public safety. My question is, the people that are elected to represent us, why aren't they listening to the public? Why are they defending and protecting the chamber's money? Why is Senator Rankin representing the city of Myrtle Beach and Alan Clemens, why aren't they spearheading the change in legislature to have the money come back to the city of Myrtle Beach? We are the only city in the state of South Carolina that has the ad tax. So no one cares about how we use our own money. I say we go to the legislature, we go to Governor McMaster and say, we would like to use our advertising money for our police problems. We'll pay for our own problems. We have our own money. Please allow us to do that. It's simple. It can be done. It can be done this spring. And in 2018, we can hire 100 new officers to be put on the street to get us turning and going in the right direction, to be a safe destination and a safe city to live in once again. We're in this Chamber of Commerce setting to talk about public safety. Anything can be made to look good. It's the beauty, the sun, what a backdrop. But this picture doesn't represent what happens after dark. We have issues, we have crime issues that have to be addressed. And for too long, they've gone unaddressed. Once we add the 100 officers, once we have a fully operating and functioning department with 320 year-round officers, we can start going after the crime and addressing the issues that are facing the city. All summer long, those 320 officers, hands are on deck. All we're doing is trying to maintain the city, the crowds, the flows throughout the city, on the boulevard, the bypass, the north end, the south end. It's about the tourists. But after Labor Day, when we get to the off season, we have to go back into the neighborhoods, and then our concentration is on the people. We're going to talk about crime. You have a 1 in 61 chance of being involved in a crime. We have one of the highest ratings in the country of cars being stolen. The drugs, the gangs, human trafficking, prostitution. Those are all the issues we're going to work on 12 months out of the season, and the concentration will be once the tourists leave. There's plenty of work for those additional 100 officers and a full staff of 320. So don't let this beautiful picture fool you that Myrtle Beach does not have crime issues that we have to address. We have to address those issues, and in 2018 we're going to put 100 new officers on the street.